sir, I got to offer my condolences, I suppose this would be. It's never good to be fired from any position that one ever has.
Or is
so
it?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry this has happened to you, sir.
Can you be associated with somebody who's been fired by the President of the United States?
Unbelievable. What a monster you must be. What is the National Security Education Board?
So this is a board that works for the Pentagon, that oversees with its presidential appointees crucial educational programs for the Defense Department, especially when it comes to language training that are relevant to threats like, China or Persia. So in July, before he left the White House, my former boss, President Trump, gave me my second presidential commission and appointed me as one of two of his presidential appointees to the National Security Education Board with a 4-year mandate. And last week, some loser called Joe Biden sends me a letter from the Presidential Personnel Office of the White House saying, if I do not resign by 5 o'clock, I will be terminated, which is funny because you can't terminate me, Joe Biden. You'd have to change the legislation that created the NSEB in order to do that. So he tried. So here's the story I'm writing today for my Substack. Joe Biden tried to fire me and failed.
Let me read this letter. This is great. Mr. Gorka, but this was sent just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Mr. Gorka, on behalf of President, so that's another question. Why did this not happen 3 years ago? But we'll get to that. On behalf of President Biden, I'm writing to request your resignation as a member of the National Security Education Board. Please submit your resignation to me by the close of business today. Should we not receive your resignation, your position on the board will be terminated effective 5 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Wow, there's some urgency to this. Did you just get this in the mail or what?
No, they actually emailed me. It's so funny. So they emailed me on Friday morning saying that you've got to go by Friday afternoon or we will terminate you. And I wrote back, can I pull up the response? Anyway, I'll tell you what the response was.
Please.
The head of this loser in the White House. I said, I reject your illicit demand since incumbent presidents do not have the authority to terminate prior appointees prior to the expiration of their tenure. I'll see you in court.
So this is important. So why can't they fire you?
Because
how long are you in office for?
The legislation is explicit. So the actual statute that created this body, the National Security Education Board, says that the tenure is the tenure, right? You are in a 4-year position for 4 years. And to get rid of me, they'd have to change that legislation, which they didn't when they had the Senate and the House. So they're stuck with me, and they knew that, or Biden just woke up 3.5 years later and thought, oh my gosh, Gorka's still in the Pentagon. We have to get rid of him.
The Gorka man is here.
Right?
I sense the Gorka man nearby.
Yeah.
Okay, so why, I can imagine why they wouldn't want you around. Why now?
You missed the best part of the letter. You missed the best part.
All right, what happened?
So here's the best part of the letter. It is presidentially appointed members of the board, like the National Security Education Board, are expected to be aligned with the values and agenda of the president, and that's why they want to fire me. So I am blowing this letter up very large and putting it in a very fancy frame because I have proof for the rest of my life that I, Sebastian Gorka, do not comport with the values and the agenda of Joe Biden.
That's great. Maybe the only thing better than being appointed to a presidential board is being fired by the next president from that board.
If he had the power to do so, but he can't.
That's right, yeah. That's great. Okay, so what's your play? What are you doing now? You going to show up at the next meeting?
That's my intention. It's going to be interesting because there'll be 2 new appointees who are illegal and aren't appointees. So it's going to be fun. Mike, it's just going to be fun.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait, hold on. Okay, let's back it up one more time. So what do you do? What are your obligations at the National Security Education Board?
Oversee and advise the programs that provide very special education in terms of threat analysis to DoD components, right? To make sure that we are teaching the right things to understand the current enemies.
Can you give me an example of something that you've maybe proposed or suggested
like
or moved around?
We have the Defense Linguistics Institute, like we have DLI. What should we be teaching there? Which enemies do we have to prepare for? What should we be trying to understand?
Okay. So do you guys meet in person?
We should until COVID hit and they had these stupid video meetings.
Okay. How often do you meet?
Twice a year.
Okay. So how many people are on it?
6 presidential appointees and then the staff, then the permanent DoD people who run it.
And how many of those are Trump appointees?
Two of us.
Okay, so you got 2 Obama, 2 HW, or 2 W?
Yeah,
how's that work?
Legacy people, I presume. Yeah, or just people.
Okay,
who come
and then
from
you,
other
and then two of you from Trump.
Yeah.
And then they want to put 2 more on the board, so they got to get rid of you?
The same day that they announced, their new quote-unquote replacement for us, on the same proclamation, which is illegal, onto the National Infrastructure Board or something, one of the other bodies, they put Mark Milley. So can you imagine? These are the
wow.
Mark Milley, the guy who literally works for the Chinese Communist military and said, I'll give you a heads up if Donald Trump is planning anything. So they did. Look, here's the buried lead in all this. Why are they doing this early, before my tenure's up? What's the real reason they're doing this? I think we know what the real reason is they're doing this. They know that they're going to lose, and they want their people burrowed in before President Trump wins.
Yes, I like that. Yeah. I think, I'm just a quick, I want to get back to that, but one thing, I believe you said, correct me if I'm wrong, that Mark Milley should be hanged.
Oh, he should be in the brig. No, he should be charged with sedition and treason and in the brig. No, he should be tried in a he should have been stripped of his rank. He should have been stripped of his uniform, and he should be put in the brig in Fort Leavenworth.
If he was appointed to the board that you're on and not leaving in defiance, would you say that to his face?
Oh, absolutely. I said the same to John Kelly to his face. Oh, totally. I come from a Catholic family. I'm not a WASP, and I am very cool, and I'm very down with conflict. I mean, when I saw Bill Barr, after the election, I went up to Bill Barr on the street and I told him what I thought of him. And I've done the same to John Kelly. I mean, it horrifies my wife, although she's getting pretty used to it. But no, I mean...
Okay, actually, this is actually really important. That's actually really important because you took a dig at the WASPs, but this is true. Why? Why do I hate conflict? And how are you okay with conflict?
Well, because I came from a family where showing emotion was fine. Like Italian families, like Jewish families. I came from a Hungarian family. My mom was a Calvinist, my dad, but she had to, agree when she married my Catholic dad to raise me as a Catholic. And, they'd been through enough crap under fascism and then, being persecuted under communism that, we let stuff out. We never sat on stuff. It's like one of the toughest things, changes for my wife, Katie, is to understand I will not let us go to bed if there's something simmering. If we have an issue, it is like an article of faith. We are not going to sleep if there's an issue. I'm sorry. We are going to settle it before the sun goes down because that's healthy. And she'll admit it that, coming from, Protestant WASP, East Coast family, that's the antithesis. Conflict is the most important thing to avoid and, showing emotions in public. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy. I mean, you don't have to go around screaming at the top of your lungs every day, but, you need to deal with things when they occur and not let them simmer and fester into, suppurating psychological wounds.
Yeah, don't let the devil get a foothold. It's in there for a reason.
Yeah.
But what if they don't like you?
What if who doesn't like me?
Whoever you speak your mind to, like Mark Milley.
This is where you got to deal with my character. I'm a little bit more than just emotionally open. I actually like conflict. I mean, I a little bit like President Trump. I use that energy, and I am. Yeah. I have no. Look, there's also a justice issue here. When I see Bill Barr at an awards ceremony in D.C., at a conservative awards ceremony, and I see him leave early, I feel it is my duty to go outside and verbally accost him and tell him how he betrayed his oath as the Attorney General. I didn't swear at him, but I told him, and I gave him a piece of my mind, because it would have been wrong for me to sit in the same ballroom with him, knowing what I know about what he did and how he betrayed America, and not say something to him. For me, there's enough. For me, justice is one of the most important things, and it just burns inside me. When John Kelly comes to an event, the guy who was literally a never-Trumper chief of staff, sabotaging the president inside the White House, I'm not going to sit with him, eating the vol au vents and the canapes, and not tell him to his face that he is a traitor and he tried to stop President Trump and he failed. And it was rather enjoyable to see the expression on his face after I told him at this fancy event who he really is. These people, at the bottom line, whatever happens to them, God will judge them. But at the end of the day, it is important to tell them that we know who they are. It doesn't matter what sinecures they get. They need to be told who they are and that we have their number.